To the peg we go. It's the Oilers and the Jets for the second time this month. The Oilers looking to bounce back from a tough loss in Calgary. We get you set for the Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, live on location, Boston Pizza, Clareview, in the lounge. Me and all of my friends on a Monday afternoon in the middle of the holidays. I swear a bunch of people will be joining us later on for the game. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well. And thanks for joining us here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Benny Thomson back at EST HQ. And then we've got Matt Kassian, our game analyst, who will be hopping on in just a couple minutes' time. Of course, you can text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. And it should be a good time here as we welcome in Benny Thomson to the program. Benny, I know you had to slide in there and kick Coob out, but how are you feeling going into this game tonight?
Yeah, it's a good one. Winnipeg's been struggling as of late, and you could say it's a good opportunity for the Oilers, but I still think that they're a good team. They're a good team over there. They were they won the President's Trophy last year. Now things have changed a little bit, and there's different personnel there, but it should be a good one. They had a rough one against Calgary on Saturday, and I think that's a good opportunity to bounce back against a struggling Winnipeg team. We'll see if they get it done tonight.
All right. Text us your thoughts as well, and then do you want to fire out a question of the night as we welcome in Cass?
Yeah. So question of the night tonight is Jack Roslovic. Right. We'll get to the lines, but Jack Roslovic is centering the third line. The question of the night is, do you believe that Jack Roslovic could be the solution to the third line center role, or do you think he's best suited at the wing?
780-218-9999. I have a few thoughts about this. We do want to hear yours as well, as Cass is just getting set up. Cass, you good to go? Thumbs up? Yep, good to go. Let's bring him in. There's Matt Kassian in his satellite studios. So I'll rattle off the lines really quickly for the Oilers. We'll get to the Jets in a second. I think, obviously the focus is on Edmonton. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Savoy. Roslovic, like Benny was talking about, slides over to center on the third line with Trent Frederick and Matthias Janmark on his wings. Ice cold offensively on those two flanks, without a doubt. Adam Henrique, fourth line center. Mangiapane and Lazar on his wings tonight. Then on defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Regula, Stasny with Emerson, no Riley Stillman, no Max Jones. I'll say this: when we found out the lines, it was still the morning show, and I think it was Joaquin and Dusty were talking about it with HR Daddy, Cass and Benny. I was thinking to myself, what is the rationale here? And I don't even like this one, but what I came up with was, are they trying to maybe get Roslovic to move around the ice more, get into more of a rhythm, shake off the rust quicker, while allowing Savoy go back to the wing on Draisaitl's line? Does that added responsibility of playing center, which he has spoken about at times, saying it's not really his favorite, with two guys that have done nothing offensively this year, you guys? Like, what is the motivation? Is it just to get him going, get those touches, and get that rust shaken off? Cass, what would you say to that?
Well, is it to try to get him going, or is it to try to get everybody else going, maybe? Or maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, I think you're just trying to come up with looks here of trying to generate offense outside of just McDavid and Draisaitl. That's ultimately what you're trying to do. Now, we talk about it and have talked about it quite frequently, and everybody's talking about it, rightfully so, that depth scoring has been a huge issue right now. And as we say, I'll say it again, it's never an issue until it is an issue, right? When McDavid and Draisaitl are firing away and the power play is clicking, not a big problem at all. But when they're not going, or teams are shutting those two down, and the power play maybe isn't gelling how it should, well, all of a sudden you stare into the abyss of the third and fourth lines right now and say, hey, guys, where's the offense? And I think, moving him down And even though he's playing with guys he is playing with guys that haven't generated much offense, the thought is, well, maybe this is a way to get them all going. Maybe putting Roslovic, who at times has been very, very good this year offensively, get him some opportunity to touch the puck, to feel it, to be the guy on a line, and maybe pull something out of those other two. With that being said, guys, how long before the lines change? Yeah.
Great point.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yeah. I think
point,
with Roslovic being a third line center today, to me, this is you're trying to see if he can play the third line center role. To me, I would be shocked if this bottom six turns around and becomes a very solid scoring bottom six. Personally, I just don't think they have the proper personnel right now. And I think Oilers management kind of sees that as well. Like the way just Trent Frederick is playing, and Janmark's on a goal scorer, and Henrique seems like he's past his days of scoring at a regular rate. But I think they're looking to see if Roslovic can play third line center. And if that's the case, then I think whoever they're going to try to go bring for this forward core, maybe it doesn't have to be a centerman now. If Jack Roslovic can play the third line center role properly, then that opens up their options, right? So to me, I think they're just trying to see if they have a third line center already here before they start assessing, who they got to bring in. But obviously, like I've said, not a whole lot of cap space, not a whole lot of capital. But you want to open up as many options as you can. So I think they're simply just testing to see if Roslovic can play a third line center.
Benny, I like the idea of testing. I like trying to see.
Yeah.
Here's where, if you want to play devil's advocate, you go, well, why this? Mm-hmm. He has, like I mentioned before, and we talked about it a bit earlier on the Oil Stream, is said it's not his favorite role, playing center, apparently, which is a surprise. I mean, if you can do whatever you want, you got more responsibility, but you can go all over the ice when you play center. And if you've got creativity flowing through your veins offensively, it's kind of like a carte blanche, except in your defensive zone, you got some responsibility to take care of. But the other thing is, too, in regard to that, is there's about 4 other guys who could play center. Yeah. Nugent Hopkins, but I know you don't want to break up that top line. They've been playing really well. I get that. Frederick, although he's on that line on the wing and has not been good this year. I get that. Henrique, who's just, adequate at best. Lazar, who you've just put back in, and even Matthias Janmark. Those are all guys who have played center and can play center, but you're moving Roslovic to center for the first time. So, you saying, hey, maybe they want to see if he's the answer, but I think there's a few things stacked against that. I don't know. Cass, how do you come out on this one?
Yeah, there are a few things stacked against it. I think you're trying to spark those other guys, and you're just trying to see what he has the capacity to do as a centerman. Like you don't know until you see it. And as I said, he's probably going to be moved off of there or moved to the wing in 5 minutes into the game.
That's probably what happens anyway. We bring it up, we discuss it, we beat it to death, and then it's like, oh, third shift, he's on a different line. How about that? What say you? 780-218-9999. I'll give you guys the Jets lineup, and then we'll go into game changers tonight against Winnipeg. So for the Jets, a team that is struggling to score, we're going to hear from Andrew Hustler Patterson from Winnipeg Sports Talk. Huss and I pre-taped a hit, and he'll give us the scoop on Winnipeg. But Scheifele between Connor and Velarde, that's their big line. Nemesnikov with Perfetti and Iafallo. Adam Lowry between Morgan Barron and Tanner Pearson. Then Jonathan Taves on the fourth line with Nino Niederreiter and Gustav Nyquist. That fourth line, you guys, that's 4 guys who about 5-6 years ago, Gustav Nyquist had 75 points 2 seasons ago. That would have been a really good line a few years ago. Now, old, slow, unproductive. Niederreiter just hit 1,000 games played. On defense, Morrissey with DeMello. Morrissey, one of the best. Sandberg with Pionk. Logan Stanley, who's having a good year. I think Matt Hyman in the Nasty Chat could attest to that with Luke Shen. Cole Koepke out. Hayden Fleury is nicked up. He would be in the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. Your starting goalies for tonight, Calvin Pickard, the 33-year-old, is 3-5-2 this year for the Oilers, 393 goals against average, 861 save percentage in 13 games. He has a 2-3-1 record versus Winnipeg lifetime, 374 GAA, 873 save percentage in 7 games versus the Jets. And then Connor Hellebuck getting the nod for Winnipeg. He's 32, has a 9-8-3 record, 255 goals against average, 908 save percentage in 20 games this year. Of course, missed a bunch of time with the knee scope. And then lifetime versus the Oilers, 15-13-3 with the 304 GA, 906 save percentage, and 3 shutouts in 31 games versus the Oil over the course of his career. And the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You have a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today, www.advantagesportmed.ca, or call 780-460-9977. For the Oilers, Jake Wallman, LTIR lower body, Kasperi Kapanen, LTIR knee. Take Connor Clattenburg off of there. He has been activated and sent back down to Bakersfield. And if you didn't catch it, Noah Philp claimed off of waivers by the Carolina Hurricanes. For the Jets, Hayden Fleury on the shelf due to injury. Cass, anything lineup-wise before we go into game changers that you want to touch on real quick?
No, Philp is gone. And that's...
How do you assess that? Was that on purpose?
No, yeah, no. No, I mean, it's unfortunate. Such a fantastic story of a young man and a young player finding his way. It's hard to say, because if we look at who's even in the lineup tonight, you kind of go, okay, would you rather have Philp or like Janmark, or what does he bring on top of Max Jones? Would you rather have Jones, or would you rather have Philp? And I kind of go probably Philp, because it seems like the ceiling may be a little bit higher. But you had to move somebody, and you put yourself in that position when you traded Stuart Skinner, and you brought in Jarny's contract. Like, all of a sudden you put yourself in even more of a cap crunch in a lot of ways. And so you were forced to have to make some roster decisions, and he was a guy you figured, hey, maybe we can sneak him through, and you weren't able to. Now, Carolina has some injury issues. It got some guys banged up. We've seen that a little bit. So will he be back on waivers at some point? Potentially. We'll have to see. But at the end of the day, if he wasn't a guy that was going to be in your lineup regularly, okay. Sucks to lose a player, but that's part and parcel to a salary cap world for young players or older players too. That's why there are waiver rights to enable you to not get stuck in the minors. So congrats to him. He's still in the NHL.
That is good. That's a good thing. You want to be at the top level. Obviously, you want to be playing, but I was told by someone today in the league that the Carolina Hurricanes love to raid the waiver wire, and they've done that again. So Noah Philp is a Hurricane today, and we'll see how long that lasts. I'm sure the Oilers would welcome him back should he become available again. All right, let's get to Game Changers with Cass, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years. He's community-driven, and he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Please check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Just wrapped up his holiday giving promotion that he likes to do, and he was doing it on his Instagram. It's always great. Cass, let's go to number one. Extinguish hope.
Yeah, this Winnipeg team has been struggling the last number of games, struggling on the season. Lost some tight games recently, a lot of one-goal games that they've dropped, some penalties. I don't know if you guys saw the comments, but there's some frustration with officiating. There's frustration from a coaching staff. They're just upset, and maybe rightfully so in a lot of ways in Winnipeg. It's rife with strife and frustration with this team right now, going from being one of the best teams or the best team in the league last year during the regular season to struggling this year and potentially not making the playoffs. And, I think a bit of a different situation than Florida, where it's like, okay, you won back-to-back cups and now you're kind of, not playing as well as you would like, but you just won 2 Stanley Cups. You're kind of like, okay, let's push and maybe we'll be fine. But you got 2 cups to fall back on. The Winnipeg Jets don't have that. And there's frustration there. And I think, for the Edmonton Oilers, much like you don't want to give teams like Calgary life and opportunity in games, even more so, I don't think you want to give it to the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, this is a team that is just, I think, chock full of doubt right now. Doubt and skepticism and frustration and inner criticism and outer criticism, both from inside the locker room. It's no doubt testy and heated. And outside the locker room, it's testy and heated as well from members of the media and coaching staff. And you see that spill over in comments towards officiating and everything. So for the Edmonton Oilers, just give them those reasons to doubt. Make them more frustrated. Come out and play the type of game where you're not just kind of ho-humming it through the first 3 quarters of it, like we saw against Calgary, where you're not just so flat in the second period that you're letting a team dictate the pace of the game and the physicality. I mean, and Benny, you said it, like this Winnipeg team still is, they still have good players. Like, this still is a good team. The amount of 1-goal games they have lost, it's not like they're getting blown out every night. So yes, they're a team that's lower in the standings, but yes, they're a team that's also has the capacity to play very well and to really challenge you. And for Edmonton, if you give them that hope, well, then yes, you're going to see a team that is desperately trying to get back into the wild card picture here. You can't let that happen for the Edmonton Oilers. You need to snuff out, extinguish any chance of that hope. You need to, from a physicality standpoint, from a speed standpoint, from an execution standpoint, guys, they just have to be better than they were against the Calgary Flames the other day.
You know what's worse than being winless in 5? Being winless in 6.
That's even worse. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 3 wins in their last 17. They had a 4-game losing streak. They won against Nashville in Nashville. Then they dropped the next game in Buffalo. They lose an OT in Montreal. They come home and beat Buffalo. Then Edmonton beats them here. That was the back-to-back 3-4 situation. It was 6-2 Edmonton, just all Oilers that night. That leads to a 3-game losing streak. They won against Washington. Then they lose an OT to Ottawa, lose outright to St. Louis in St. Louis, lose outright to Colorado in Colorado, go to Utah, lose an OT, come home, play Minnesota, blow a lead, and lose that one in OT. So super, super frustrating. And I don't know, you add another L, like not even an OT loss because they've lost their last 2 in OT. You add another straight up L. You're right, Cass. Like, just extinguish that hope.
Yeah.
For the Winnipeg Jets. And that's a hard fall from being President's Trophy winners and Jennings Trophy winners to potentially not even making the playoffs. I know they've had injuries and not having Hellebuck hurts, but man, they're not getting any contribution. So well said, sir. Extinguish hope. Point number 1 of game changers. Let's go to point number 2. And I think this one could be said for both teams and would resonate in both cities and markets. Depth.
Well, we started talking about it already. But that depth for the Oilers needs to find a way to do something. Now, you are, as already mentioned, getting that little bit of a different look with Roslovic playing in the middle there. And as we said already, that line could change in 5 minutes, could change during warmups. I don't know. But some of those depth players have to find a way to get going. Of the 6 of them right now, so Frederic, Roslovic. Now, Roslovic, maybe he's played up and down the lineup, so I'll exclude him for the moment from these. So we'll go with the 5 of them. But Frederic, Janmark, Mangiapane, Henrique, and Lazar. Lazar is really the only one that in the last couple of weeks has brought that bottom 6 style of game, where he's just kind of been around the net, been physical on the forecheck. He's not a guy that just blows people up and runs them over, but like, he's been around it. He's found his ways to be involved in games in limited minutes. Both his other guys haven't really done it. Frederic gets in the fight, great. Janmark, aside from the penalty kill, has been pretty non-existent. Mangiapane has been pretty much non-existent. Henrique's been pretty much non-existent the last couple of weeks. Like, they haven't found a way to regularly contribute here. Now, for all those guys, they all have the capacity to still do it. Like, Henrique, I think, still can. We saw flashes earlier in the year when he's playing smart and when he has players that are more the guys that are transporting the puck, like that are moving the puck. He's not fleet of foot anymore. When other guys are transporting the puck and they get some offensive zone time, well, then yes, he can still be an effective player. So he's got to find a way, or his line mates have to find a way to bring that out of him. Frederick just has got to flick an on switch somehow, some way. Somehow, some way. And Mark, I mean, this has kind of been 2 years of this. He's just saving it for playoffs, I guess. But somewhere in the bottom six, that you have to, and it's not even with like incredible frequency, but just you got to score at a little bit of a higher pace than they have been down there. Like just a little bit of help once every 2 games. Someone from those bottom 2 lines, that would be great to chip in a goal. And that's not even that much. Like if we think about that from a season standpoint, that's taken like 40 goals or 41 goals and spreading them out between 6 guys on 2 lines. Like that should be possible with your third and fourth lines. And it's kind of a pace this group needs to get to, but it's a pace that they are not on right now.
Hey, speaking of that, because this is, I think, a very valid point of conversation when it comes to the bottom 6 and the lack of production. When you are riding McDavid and Draisaitl in the top 6 heavy, like Chris Knobloch has been doing, and then you look at the bottom 6 and they're barely playing in third periods when you're down, the lines are changing out in warm up like we're joking about. How hard is it to get into a groove? And I'll use Andrew Mangiapane as the example. He's a hot topic right now because, Elliot Friedman had the report that, they'd be open to moving on from him. And I was talking to some people after hearing that within the organization. They're like, yeah, it feels like it's starting to become a Victor Arvidsson thing. And he does have a no movement clause. So just keep an eye on it. But when you're only playing, like, for example, Mangiapane, 10 to 12 minutes a night, and none of it's in prime score, like late in games and critical moments. Well, what is it? Do you suck all of a sudden, for lack of a better term, or is it just you're not being put out there and given the responsibility to do what you're best at? Yeah,
well, it's really hard. A lot of people don't understand. A lot of players don't understand, and guys that regularly play a lot of minutes don't understand how difficult it can be to play limited minutes in a game, because ice time's sporadic. You play a couple shifts and then you sit for 30 minutes if you include intermission time.
Yeah.
Right. Like if there's a penalty or 2 in there, or your team has a power play and they run the full 2 minutes, it could be even longer, where you're sitting for 40 minutes and then you're expected to step out and to try to either produce or just be stable out there. And that can be very, very difficult. And it can be very difficult for players that in the past have had offensive success, that have played lots of minutes, to be able to navigate that, because you're not used to getting as many touches. You're not in a rhythm, you're not engaged, or it's more difficult to stay engaged in a game. And they, ultimately the responsibility is on the players to be able to still do that and to go out and execute. However, there is also a responsibility on the coaching staff to find ways to keep those players engaged in the game and to keep them playing and getting enough touches so that they're not just sitting there being useless. Like some players are better when they play more, right? So now some players, maybe not, there's a limit to some guys, they get too tired if they play too many minutes, but some guys it's like, well, yeah, just like some goalies, you give them extra shots, and if they're not challenging shots, they feel better about themselves because they're engaged, they're active mentally, they're focused, they're with it, they're having to process. And there is an element to some of those minutes being played for those guys that you kind of look at it, go like, I wonder if not playing as many minutes is really affecting them mentally and with their ability to stay engaged in these hockey games.
Man, that's tough. Benny, what do you think of all of this? Bottom 6, lack of production, Mangiapane. I've got a little update for everybody after Benny.
Okay. So, yeah, it's a little bit of the chicken and egg thing. Like I think there's part of it is you got to earn the ice time, but like I'm seeing some of the talk about it in the nasty chat with like, Knobloch striking again and doing all this stuff. Like he needs to change this. At what point is it Knobloch versus just the Oilers have Connor and Leon, and any coach that has stepped into this role has just rolled them? and just thinks that their best chance to win when they're down is to just throw them out there every second shift. That's kind of like, to me, that's just what every coach has come in and thinks is what's best for the team. So like you were saying, Cass, it's tough for veterans to, or especially guys that have played in the NHL and have produced and been guys that are out there every second shift, kind of like Connor and Leon, being bottom six roles, which is why it's so important that when those guys are out there, those teams are willing to overpay for guys like that because they know how to play that role. I think Matthias Janmark still has a little bit of upside. I think he understands kind of playing those minutes, and he's not going to get you. He's not going to score you much goals. Like we know Matthias Janmark. That's just not going to happen. But the guys I'm looking at more is Frederick, is Henrique, and it's Mangiapane. Like those are the three. At least Henrique can be a little bit solid in his own end, but Mangiapane and Frederick, like they've come in and they just don't. They're not going to score, but they're also not going to do anything impact-wise. So it's like, why would you throw them out there when you need a goal or you need something to change? Because they just won't do it. So, yeah, all relating to the Mangiapane talk about how he'd be open for a change of scenery. I'm for it. I think a lot of people are for it. It just seemed like it's not a good fit here. And that's $3.5 million you always could free up in cap space with that contract being gone. So, yeah, I'm for it, but they need to find a way to have an impact on the game, and they haven't figured that out yet.
All right. As we continue on with game changers, really quickly, a note on Mangiapane. It just came into me from a very, very, very good source. Mangiapane's agent has been given permission to talk to teams to help facilitate a trade, and I was told, go ahead, use it. So that is the latest there from a very good source. Mangiapane's agent has been given permission to facilitate a trade. So this is moving along quickly, it seems like, considering what we heard from Elliott recently to this coming from right there, almost. Use it, put it out there. That's what I was told. So there you go. Cass, any thoughts on that really quickly? You're muted, by the way.
Sorry, we had a trespasser zip in here, not realizing that I was on video, so I muted it to tell her to get out. Yeah, like it's not shocking, right? He comes in here, and we all expected he was gonna maybe be the answer. I thought he finally was. This is gonna be like great,
yeah,
guy that can play that pest game, play in your top six or moonlight in your top six, play some good minutes, chip in offensively, play with Leon, play with Connor, you kind of work his way in there. And he just hasn't. So it's not surprising that they would all of a sudden, his agent would be looking for potentially somewhere to move and to talk to other teams. I don't know if at his dollar value with how he has played this year, how many teams would be willing to make an offer. So we'll have to see. So it's not shocking. It is not shocking.
Once again, I was just passed along some information that Andrew Mangiapane's agent has been given permission to seek a trade. All right, it is Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Point number 1 for tonight was extinguish hope when it comes to the Winnipeg Jets, struggling mightily lately. Number 2, depth. Number 3, Cass picked.
Well, the Picard faithful
rise
will be happy. Raise your hands, Ace. We know you're feeling it. Chief Andy, you're probably not listening, but if you are, I know you feel it too. All the people that think that he is the perennial Vezina winner, rejoice. Calvin Pickard back in the starter's crease for tonight. A really important game for him. I'm interested to see what type of game he pitches, because this is it has to be a response game.
Yeah.
Edmonton loses the game against Calgary, but it wasn't on Connor Ingram. It wasn't a Connor Ingram loss game.
No.
And so Calvin Pickard has to be feeling the heat. Now he's going into net against a struggling Winnipeg Jets team. And what type of game are we going to see from him? Just like for Stuart Skinner, just like I'll do it for Ingram, I've done it for Pickard too. When I think he plays well and still ends up with an 800 save percentage, I want to say that if there's backdoor tap-ins. So I don't think his save percentage necessarily reflects his quality of play throughout the entirety of the year. But there have been certain periods, certain games where he's just been sub-average. And he's got to be feeling the pressure from Connor Ingram right now coming into net. So it's an interesting situation for Pickard. Now, what I hope happens is I hope he comes and plays lights out. I hope he plays absolutely fantastic. And I hope he creates a situation where he makes it difficult one way or the other for management to make decisions around what they're doing with the goaltending. I mean, that's what we want to see from Calvin Pickard. So it's an interesting spot for him to be in. I am going to be paying attention to how he's playing, going to be paying attention to his body language if he gets scored on. How does he react and respond? I mean, it's going to be an interesting night to see how Pickard plays and how he responds to his job being under pressure.
Does this have to be his best game of the season? Flat out.
Does it have to be? Not necessarily his best, but he's got to be rock solid. Like, it doesn't have to be his best. I would love it if it was, but it has to be a solid game. Like, if he pitches a poor game, it's not going to look good for him. It's just not going to look good. Like, I can't imagine that as Jari continues to get healthier again, that Pickard is feeling very secure, nor should he if he doesn't play solid tonight. Now, he may still not, even if he plays his best game of the season tonight, but it certainly would go a long way to helping his case. So does he have to? No, but he's got to play solid.
We'll look forward to seeing how solid he plays tonight. I think he'll be certainly very, very motivated considering how well Ingram has done thus far. Small sample size, but so far, so good. Cass, fantastic stuff, my friend. We'll catch up with you in the post-game show.
Sounds good, fellas.
There you go. There's Matt Kassian with Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. If you didn't catch it or you're just tuning in, I was sent along a note from a very good source. No, not the same one that said that Tompkins was going to get called up, saying that Mangiapane, his camp, and his agent has been given permission to seek a trade from the Oilers. So we'll see where this goes. Moves quickly, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, all his noise kind of just started this morning. We've been talking about, like, is there a move for him and is he happy here? And I think it was pretty clear that he wasn't. Like, I'd imagine he wanted to play in a bigger role, but yeah, I think it's probably best with both sides to seek a trade.
I wanted it to work out with him, honestly. And
Me too.
I mean, if they can't find a trade and he starts playing better and he stays here, great.
Yep.
And becomes what he was supposed to be when they signed him, fantastic. Garen's here from Combine Crew. Good to see him. Hopefully a few more show up if we get a good turnout tonight. It's a weird time of day to have this game. It's prime game, 5:30 start. People back at work today, some, not all. And then really warm day, and the roads are mushy, which is good considering how bad they were with all the snow and how it got compacted and everything. But we're here. We're having fun. Take advantage of some game day specials. Of course, $5 off of medium pizzas, $1 off tankards of Molson and Coors. And we've got some prizing here, as always, at Boston Pizza Clareview. First intermission, we're giving away a Molson prize pack. Second intermission, another Molson prize pack. And then at the end of the game, we will be giving away a pair of tickets to an upcoming Oilers game. So come on down, check it out. Take advantage of the game day specials. Watch the game with us. 174-inch screen. This thing is massive. It's like 8K. They went all out here at BP Clareview. Jason and Lisa and the entire staff here. Absolutely tremendous. Beautiful, brand new location, essentially. After they had that fire, they rebuilt, and they did it right. All right. I want to get to a few texts because I know we had a bunch of texts that were coming in. A lot of information was coming in as well. Uncle Dave texting in says, depth scoring seems to be a constant struggle in the McDavid era. Is it possible that having two superstars that eat up so many minutes per game is actually a cause of poor depth? Yeah, I think that that's a valid reason. I mean, at certain points, less so, but throughout the last 10, 11 years. But I think there is something to that, Uncle Dave. I think and that's why I asked about it. Troll says Roslovic was playing great with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. It makes no sense to put him on the third line. Yeah, and you know what, Troll? Well, we're with you. We're kind of like, I guess. But Cass made a good point, and we joked and laughed about it. What if he's off that line after like 4 or 5 shifts? And that could happen. We have seen it. Yeah, and then Nolan out in St. Albert says, going to be tough to judge Roslovic for a bit. Got to be tough coming back from an explosion or injury in the sensitive male area. He didn't lose anything, as I was told, thank God. And hopefully he is up and at 'em, if you know what I mean. Gosh, I get myself sometimes. You can text us 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat. I'm going to give you the game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta. Of course, when you play in Alberta, it stays in Alberta, safe and secure. The revenue generated from Play Alberta is redirected into Alberta's General Revenue Fund, which is used to support programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. Of course, use your game sense. And you can hit promo codes EST50, EST Casino, and EST Sports. The $50 free bet comes with a $50 deposit with EST50. Same goes for EST Sports. And then if you go EST Casino, $50 deposit gets you $50 casino bonus. Your money line for tonight, Edmonton -109, Winnipeg -108. The over-under set at 6.5. With the over at minus 108, the under at -123. Of course, Winnipeg can struggle to score. And the Oilers have been scoring a lot more lately, but we'll see. Connor Hellebuck back there makes a big, big difference. So there you go. There's your game day odds check brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Play Alberta. All right, we're going to go to Winnipeg and hear from Andrew Hustler Patterson. He of WST. I had a chance to sit down with him just before making my way down here to BP Clairview. Hear his Huss with me. All right, this guy is always a treat to have on our station. You see him on the Lock Shop every day, and anytime he's on any other show, it is an absolute pleasure. Andrew Hustler Patterson. Huss, I know I guilted you into this. I apologize, but at the same time, it was calculated because I hadn't reached out to anybody from Winnipeg to hop on and preview the game. So thank you, and I apologize.
Dude, no apology necessary. Every time the Oilers and Jets play, obviously we would talk about it somewhat on the Lock Shop, but you're our go-to guy for Oilers stuff on Winnipeg Sports Talk, so it is a pleasure to be able to return the favor and say what's up to the Nasties one more time before we drop the puck tonight.
I love the familiarity that's developed between EST Nasties and WSTers because we see a bunch of them cross over on each side. So that whole thing, it's become like this neat little, I don't know, what would you describe it as? Just a microcosm of what we have at EST, at WST.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's a little bit of a crossover community. I mean, we obviously got a head start because TSN decided to spare you guys a little bit longer than it did us. But obviously, working with Dusty, I mean, we knew that when it eventually happened to you all that you'd be set up and ready to go and sort of just, following kind of what we'd done there. And obviously what you guys have done is awesome. I mean, with so many of the guys that have come over from the old station. But yeah, man, if we had a Venn diagram of ESTers and WSTers, I mean, there's a pretty good overlap. I mean, we get a ton of the regulars from Edmonton Sports Talk jumping in our shows and certainly for Marbles or some of the other things that we do. And then, obviously doing the Lock Shop. I mean, there's a ton of Winnipeggers that have been following me and Dusty on this, and I think they've been exposed to the great stuff that you guys are doing all day over at Edmonton Sports Talk. So it's even more appropriate to get together when our teams are playing. And this is kind of weird in that, they played at the beginning of December, which was, I mean, obviously an embarrassing game for the Jets, but a game that everyone knew what was going to happen. Yeah. I mean, they were struggling. Hellebuck was out. They played 3 games in 4 nights in 3 different cities, 4 and 6. That was like the entire season. If you wanted a scheduled loss, quote unquote, that was it. But right now with both of these team needing wins, especially the Winnipeg Jets playing tonight. And then I guess 10 days later on the 8th of January, we'll be doing it again at Canada Life Center when Edmonton comes to town to finish up the season series.
Hussam, I'm glad you set that up the way you did because we know the circumstances are different compared to 3 weeks ago. The schedule sucks. I think everybody across the league can say that. And there's no practice time. The travel has been brutal, especially for Western-based teams. And every team's been caught in that vice so far. And then that's what we saw with the Jets when they rolled through town a couple of weeks ago. Now, having said that, this is a Jets team still looking for a win for the first time in 6 games. The Oilers came off a disappointing loss in Calgary on Saturday, where I thought they just got out hustled, for lack of a better term. And when it comes to Winnipeg, Hellebuck's back, but why isn't it clicking right now for the Jets?
Because no one on this team can score a goal other than their top line.
That old thing.
Josh Morrissey will chip in. I mean, like the game on Saturday against Minnesota was maybe the perfect microcosm of the entire season. Connor and Scheifele are brilliant. They both score. Josh Morrissey gets one. And then, you take just a lazy, unconscionable offside penalty that takes Gustav Nyquist's first goal of the season off the board. And then a retaliatory penalty with 30 seconds left gives the Minnesota Wild an opportunity to tie the game up. They pull the goalie, they do it, and then you lose in overtime and you leave a very valuable point on the table. I mean, it's crazy what's happened to the Jets for a team that was so good and so consistent last year, how far they've fallen off. Now, I mean, we don't have time to get into what Nikolai Ehlers meant to the Jets in the past, but safe to say that second line is just a shell of itself without him driving the bus there. And then a number of players are maybe 1 year older. Adam Lowry had surgery in the offseason on his hip. He's been slower to come around. Cole Perfetti had a high ankle sprain at the start of the year. He's really struggled. Like outside of that line, which is absolutely one of the top lines in the National Hockey League, it has been really, really quiet offensively for a team. And then, more often than not, they haven't been as good defensively as they have been before. Now, I will preface that with that recently we've seen some much better trends with the Jets defensively. And that has to be the bread and butter of their game. I thought that I think Scott O'Neill said they held Minnesota to 7 scoring chances in the game, and that'll usually win you most nights. But you know how it is when things aren't going well for a team. There's an element of Murphy's Law right now, and I don't know whether this is on the Lock Shop or WST, but we were talking about remember the Chiefs last year? They were 11-0 in 1-score games, and people were watching these games going, "How the hell are they the number 1 seed doing it again and going to the Super Bowl?" Well, they won every close game. I mean, the Jets did that a lot last year too. I think they were 19-4-4 in 1-goal games last year. They've already lost 8 games by 1 in regulation this year. So some of those numbers, maybe that they were on the right side of the ledgers, catching up on them. But in a nutshell, this is simply a one-line team right now that is not getting offense from anybody else other than those top guys. And that's a tough way to win consistently in the NHL, even with the line that's been as good and productive as Scheifele, Connor, and Velarde's been this year.
Andrew Hustler Patterson with us here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. And Huss, I look at the lineup and Jonathan Taves, 4th line center, didn't know what to expect from him. Gus Nyquist, who was discussed earlier, he's 2 years removed from a 75-point season, and he's got 7 points going into this game. And the Lowry injury, those injuries can be so tough. So it's almost like the perfect sequence of events in a negative way, it seems like, for Winnipeg. But when this team is on, what are they doing to have success?
Well, listen, when they're at their best, they're controlling play through a really solid forecheck and great positional awareness and aggressive checking, where they're not defending as much. I mean, this team's won the Jennings Trophy the last 2 years. I mean, they have been the best defensive team in the league, and Hellebuck's been a big part of that, no doubt about it. And a Goldie can be your best penalty killer. You can make a lot of things look good, but there's way, way more to it than that. I mean, Hellebuck would be the first one to tell you that the reason why he was able to win a Hart Trophy and win back-to-back Vezinas and the Jennings was that it was a real team effort. And I'm not sure whether this roster is a little bit older and a little bit slower this year, but they've been behind the play more than they have been at any point in the last couple of years. And listen, Cole Perfetti's not a burner to begin with. He's struggled. Nemesnikov's gone through about a month and a half long slump. Alex Iafallo and Morgan Barron, I think, have been really good this year. And Barron's a guy that, is sort of seeing himself play a little higher up in the lineup. And then, you've got a group of older players. Lowry has struggled since the surgery. Jonathan Taves, we had really high hopes. They obviously haven't been realized. Tanner Pearson, he's on his last legs in the NHL. Nyquist doesn't have a goal. And Nino Niederreiter, who just played his 1,000th game, not only hasn't scored very much, but has sometimes he's found himself playing on the fourth line right now. And he was the one that took that dubious offside that cost Nyquist his first goal. So there's no young talent right now on the roster that is challenging for ice time. The only forward they don't have playing is Cole Koepke, and he's been fine as a 12th, 13th forward. And then on the blue line, Josh Morrissey's Mr. Everything for this guy. Dylan Samberg missed a significant amount of time earlier on. Dylan DeMello, I think, has had some good games, but also probably not the level of partner that most number ones like Morrissey would have. Logan Stanley's been one of the great stories of the year. He scored 6 goals. He's plays the different defense partner every game, seemingly. Is it Luke Shen? Is it Colin Miller? Is it Hayden Fleury? So the bottom line is every swing that they took in the offseason has sort of blown up spectacularly. And that's just put a hell of a lot on the big boys, Connor, Scheifele, Velarde, Morrissey, Hellebuck, to keep it going. And that's the reason why they're 15-11 right now.
Yeah. Wow.
Or 15-17, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry, 15-17. If they're to be successful, or what kind of game do you expect to see tonight? Because, with the Oilers, they can't win 3 in a row. We talked about that on WST. I think they should be pissed off after the loss in Calgary, but this is a team that, sometimes too cool for school in Edmonton.
If the Jets are going to win this hockey game, they got to do a couple things. First of all, keep it at 5-on-5. And unfortunately, against some younger, faster teams, we've seen these guys be behind the play a little bit, and that's led to taking penalties. They routinely take 1 or 2 earlier in the game and just spot teams' power plays. That will get them killed tonight. If they can keep this to a tight checking, close game that is played at 5-on-5, they'll have a chance to do it. Listen, they don't have a lot of advantages over Edmonton in a lot of areas on the roster. Goaltending is a massive one.
Yes.
Hellebuck's going to have a strong game, because Draisaitl, McDavid, they're going to get theirs. They're going to get their opportunities. And you know what? Maybe, I know you guys have talked about goaltending quite a bit over the last little while. Maybe this will be a chance for a couple guys that haven't scored in forever to actually get on the board. We'll see. It'll be a great crowd tonight. There'll be a lot of people fired up. The Oilers always have a lot of fans, a lot of young fans that love McDavid. So I think that, with it being in between Christmas and New Year's, this is going to be a game that will have some juice to it. But the Jets need to be a committed, desperate hockey team for a full 60 minutes and stay disciplined if they want to have a chance of beating Edmonton. I will tell you, though, for anyone that remembers that game on, the 5th or 6th of December, the Jets will be better than they were in that game. They'll probably look like a completely different team. The big question is to whether some of this secondary help can get on board a little bit and have some good results, because right now, if they're not getting the offense from the guys that I mentioned, it just simply hasn't happened.
We'll see if it does come to fruition tonight in Winnipeg. Huss, always a pleasure, sir. I can't thank you enough for doing this. Enjoy the game tonight, all right?
My pleasure, my friend. Happy New Year to all the nasties. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'll talk to you guys all, or hear from you tomorrow on the Lock Shop.
All right, great stuff there from Andrew Hustler Patterson. Really appreciate his time in that interview while we were running the Huss interview. The Oilers are out for warm-up. Andrew Mangiapane, who right before we threw to that interview, we said the Oilers have given Mangiapane's agent permission to seek a trade. He is a healthy scratch tonight, Benny Thomson.
Yep.
He is out. Here is the updated Oilers lineup for tonight. McDavid between Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Savoy. Roslovic centering Frederick and Janmark. Henrique between Max Jones and Curtis Lazar. Ekholm with Bouchard. Nurse with Stasny. Stillman with Emberson. So no Regula either. Calvin Pickard is your starter, but Andrew Mangiapane, literally we went from saying, hey, his agent's been given permission to seek a trade from the Oilers to not playing in this game. So fast-moving developments here.
I wonder if this is a possible deal getting done tonight, or it's, I mean, he hasn't been playing well as of late. And so this could be a very similar situation with Frederick where Knobloch's, okay, we need more from you. You're going to take a seat in the press box tonight. Either way, impactful and follows us. It has a good storyline following with it. So I'm curious to see what the reasoning is behind it. But either way, I think it's the right decision.
So there you go. No Andrew Mangiapane tonight for the Oilers. A healthy scratch. And like we mentioned about 15 minutes ago, from a very, very good source, he has been given permission, or at least his agent has been given permission to seek a trade. He switched to a new agent in the summer, Benny. And so this is interesting development as, he has not been playing much and he has not been that effective or as effective as they had hoped he would be. And now it's to the point where it's like it was leaning towards the Victor Arvidsson situation. Now it just feels like we're at that point. Like last year, at least Arvidsson told the Oilers, like, get me out of here if you can. Yeah. But it was done quietly where it didn't make a lot of noise. And, we're at the point now where it's like, no, this guy wants to get out of here, it seems like, because it ain't working. And it ain't working. He's not good when he gets opportunities, and he doesn't get a lot of opportunities. And it's like, well, is it because he's not good, or is it because he's not getting, he doesn't have the trust? Is it because his role isn't what was expected when he signed here? Could be a number of different things, but bottom line, he's not contributing much offensively, and it doesn't seem like he's too happy. So he has been, at least his agent has been given permission to seek a trade from what we have been told. All right, you can text us 780-218-9999. Let's go to Safety Bob, because we do have to hand it back over to Reid and Jay for the last half hour of the Reid Wilkins Show. Safety Bob gets the last word, says, hello, gents. Long time since I wrote in. Here are my 2 cents. Oilers need to start off hot. Get the Jets back on their heels. If the Oilers let them stay in the game, it's going to be a tough one to win. My prediction, Oilers win it 5-2. All right. Thank you, Safety Bob. Good to hear from you. Benny, great work. We're going to be back on the post-game show. If anything new comes from this development, we will pass it along. But what you need to know, Mangiapane, a healthy scratch. We have been told that his agent has been given permission to help facilitate a trade by talking to other teams. And we will see Calvin Pickard in goal against Connor Hellebuck. Riley Stillman is in. Alec Regula is out. How long does Jack Roslovic last at center on the third line? We will have our answers in just a matter of minutes. All right. For Benny Thomson and Matt Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola. Say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Coming up next, the final half hour of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
Win a Stanley Cup or the Americans win an Olympic gold? And is Austin Matthews part of either team?
It's more likely the Americans win a gold because they could potentially win it this year.
If it doesn't happen this year, then it's another 4 years. Is he still...
He's no longer Toronto Maple Leaf. He's on some other team and he's refound his game.
He's part of the reborn Arizona Coyotes.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
From the first time on skates to wearing a special jersey passed down through generations, Sentinel Storage is here for you. Store your sports gear and seasonal items to create space for all life's adventures. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca. Proud partner of Hockey Canada and the World Juniors.
Hockey is heating up, and so is the excitement on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code EST50. That's code EST50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense.
EST Afternoons.
Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show. When you look at this Team Canada, what's their strength and do they have a weakness this year?
You know what? I don't really think they have a lot of weaknesses, not a lot of holes. I think the criticism for Canada in the last few years has been that they leave a lot of talent at home. I don't think anybody can look at this roster and say that there isn't enough talent. Canada should be the favorite.
EST Afternoons, weekday afternoons 1 to 3, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
UFC 324 is live Saturday, January 24th at the Canadian Brewhouse. With TVs at every turn, ice-cold drinks, and non-stop action, you won't miss a second of the fight. UFC 324, live at the Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
The Oil Stream.
Where would you rank them right now, all-time European player?
Leon Draisaitl?
Yeah, top 10?
Yes. Well, okay, Yager's got to be up there. Obviously, Ovechkin.
Would you put Peter Stastny?
Lidstrom, definitely.
Solani is another one.
Yari Curry. Malkin.
So you're saying top like from 6 to 10?
The Oil Stream, presented by Boston Pizza. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Two guys and a goalie.
They have 7 defensemen from last time. Say Parayko or Harley are out, and Schaefer could be there for the experience, and you know he's going to be on the next Olympic team, and Bush can be there. If something happens to Makar, you slide Bush in.
I'm okay with it. No, I'm still kind of surprised he's even in that conversation now at this point. But I think the only reason that he would be if Makar gets hurt.
Two guys and a goalie, presented by GS Construction. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson here, and we're excited to be partnering up with the Nielsen Show and have a special deal exclusive for Nielsen Show listeners. Get 10% off any new Trane furnace, air conditioner, or heat pump installation from now until the end of October. Bundle a furnace with an AC or heat pump and get 25% off the package price. Get your home comfort now for all seasons with Weiss Johnson and Trane. Trane, it's hard to stop a train. Visit WJSportsTalk.com today.
From our Sentinel Storage family to yours, wishing you and those you love a wonderful holiday season. A new year filled with an abundance of great health, much laughter, successes that make you smile and delight, and to be surrounded by people and places that make you the happiest.
Running your own small business takes courage, and as it grows, so does your team. That's why Alberta Blue Cross offers health, dental, life, disability, and wellness benefits designed for small businesses, because we know a healthy team means a thriving business. Join over 5,000 Alberta businesses who have chosen us to help their business grow and succeed. Alberta Blue Cross takes care of you and your employees, so you can take care of your business. Visit ab.bluecross.ca to find a plan that's right for you.
Oilers Jets, Andrew Mangiapane, a healthy scratch. So the trade speculation fueling there. Of course, Tom Gazzola telling you on the Oil Stream pregame show that the agent being given permission to seek a trade. So I wonder if something's going on here relatively quickly. So that'll mean Max Jones coming in with Henrique and Lazar, Roslovic between Frederick and Janmark, Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Savoy, McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. McDavid, 32 points over the course of a 12-game point streak. He has 61 points in 36 career games against the Jets. Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Stastny, Stillman in today on the back end with Emberson, and Calvin Pickard, the goaltender. Hellebuck For the Jets, defensively, they are led by Morrissey and DeMello, and their top line is deadly, Scheifele, Connor, and Velarde. But after that, the Jets have been struggling to score goals. Second of 3 meetings between the two teams this season. Oilers won at Rogers Place earlier this month. They're going to play in about a week and a half again in Winnipeg. Closing out the Reid Wilkins Show, I'm Reid. Jay Milne is here as well. Of course, the Coob at the technical desk. So what do you make? Maybe with Mangiapane being scratched, maybe things are moving relatively quickly here. What do you make of this, Jay?
Well, yeah. I mean, first things you got to look at it is, well, okay, that's going to open up $3.6 million for this team. If something was to happen.
Right. If they just dump him for a pick or something.
Yes. Now, what do you get with that? Right? We were talking about it out there. I mean, what trade value does Andrew Mangiapane have?
Yeah, not a lot.
Probably not a lot. Right? So this would just be probably a dump, try start somewhere fresh, and hopefully your game can come back. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, that's quite fast how things kind of came together. I mean, at the start of the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, Tom said that he had heard that Mangiapane's agent had been notified,
given permission to seek a trade. Right? Yeah.
So obviously he's waiving his no move clause, which is in place. So it'll be interesting to see what shakes out. How does this affect, this team should something happen, Reid, in the very short-term future here?
Well, it means Max Jones is going to get to play. Mm-hmm. I mean, Tomashik's gone with the contract termination. Maybe you'd have to call Hudson.
I was thinking that.
Back up.
Something you would do.
Or Clattenburg maybe comes right back up. I mean, he was activated and sent down today. Though I guess if Mangiapane is just a healthy scratch, he's still on the roster and still taking up cap space. But yeah, if he would be traded not for a roster player, maybe they find a way to dump this salary and then it gives you room to acquire somebody else before the deadline. But yeah, hasn't gone. I mean, Mangiapane did have chances. He was in the top 6 most of the first 20-25 games and didn't produce a lot. I think the Oilers obviously took a chance on him. He had a really good season last year with Washington as a depth player on a team that had a great regular season. They didn't go do so well in the playoffs. But look, this is going to be seen as another sort of failed acquisition for a middle 6 winger. Arvidsson didn't go great here. Jeff Skinner didn't go great, though they were more productive or on pace to be more productive than Mangiapane. So this is part of the. I mean, look, you can look at the player and say he hasn't played well enough, hasn't played to expectations. Fair enough, but I mean, I think you also have to look at the manager, the GM in this situation. Like, I don't think it's black and white that everything Stan Bowman has been poor. But there's been some issues here trying to round out or find Draisaitl wingers or find Nugent Hopkins wingers or however you want to look at it. This would be, I guess, sort of 0 for 3 in that situation. I mean, maybe Savoy's were in the process of working out as a middle 6 winger. That trade was still made by Jeff Jackson. Though, and I guess I guess those other 2 signings, to be fair, were made by Jeff Jackson. So maybe you can look at them as co-parts of the management team. But nonetheless, that's a player who you hoped was going to be somewhat productive and somewhat pesky, somewhat annoying to play against.
Yes.
I mean, you haven't seen Mangiapane scratching the net. Well, you haven't even seen him scratching the net.
That's true.
You certainly haven't seen him crashing it.
No.
I don't know if you've seen him crashing it or making a big nuisance of himself or anything like that. So we'll see. It is interesting that he's scratched because it makes me think, now unless something else is going on that we don't know about, but it makes me think that something maybe is brewing, that you don't want to put him in a game and risk something happening to him. So maybe something happens quick here. So something to keep an eye on for sure as the Oilers take on the Winnipeg Jets. Jay always does the play of the day for Play Alberta. Didn't go hockey today. Play Alberta, of course, the presenting sponsor of Edmonton Sports Talk. It's time to turn up the fun with the all-new Play Alberta app, your digital destination for casino, live dealers, lottery, instants, and, of course, sports betting.
Yeah. Bijan Robinson Day. That's the play. So 2 touchdowns and 5 or more receptions. It's a risky one for sure because the number attached to it is plus 740. So
Pretty good.
you got to keep that in mind. So yeah, maybe a sprinkle, maybe a tinkle, right? Just a dab will do ya.
Just a little yabba dabba do.
Yabba dabba.
Yabba dab.
I'm eagerly anticipating Fired Up.
Well, that makes one of us. No, I am as well.
Because
we did this last year, so we thought, why not do it again?
So how many books did you read in 2025?
Not many. 13.
That's probably 13 more than 95% of people, including me.
So I sort of rededicated myself to reading more at the start of 2024. And I read 15 books in 2024. Most of them on the Libby app, taking them out of the Edmonton Public Library digitally, which I really enjoyed. This year, I had a hiatus from reading because of my eye surgery.
Yes.
But I still got the 13 books. So we thought we did this last year. So let's do it again this year. We'll do the top 3 books I read this year. So these books didn't come out in 2025. A couple of them are, well, one of them is quite recent, but it's not a 2025 book. Fired Up for Gemco Fireplaces, proudly serving Edmonton and area for 45 years. The authorized dealer for Napoleon Fireplaces, whether it's gas or wood burning. Look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon Fireplaces. All the Napoleon products you need are available at Gemco 9281 50th Street. We will keep you updated on the Oilers and the Jets. They have not yet dropped the puck. So the top 3 books I read this year. Now, I will say I continue to enjoy the Jack Reacher series. I did read 4 Reacher novels. None of them made the list this year.
Really?
No, but they're good. I found the Reacher ones, the first 3 were pretty good, and then there was a bit of a dip, and now I think I'm up to the 11th one, and they're getting stronger again.
Is that because they're somewhat redundant?
Well, there's a formula. There's a definite formula.
Okay.
He's a big, tough, smart guy who seems to somehow wind up on the scene.
Handsome,
usually finds a love interest along the way, knowing that, of course, there will never be any permanence to that, and kills some bad guys, and off he goes.
What a life.
That's a good life.
That is not bad.
He just travels around with a toothbrush and a debit card.
He'd be lonely.
He buys clothes, wears them for a week, throws them out, buys other clothes.
Yeah. Probably well paid.
That's Reacher. Well, he's living off his pension from having been military police. Yeah. So the first book, these are in no order. These are just my best 3 from that I read in 2025. I finished yesterday. It is based on a TV series the TV series is based on this series of books. So I read the first one in the series. It is called Slow Horses by Mick Herron. Really enjoyed this one. It's sort of a mystery, sort of spy thriller, sort of behind the scenes of the British spy agency. But the Slow Horses are basically a group of spies who have been demoted rather than being fired and are given very menial, almost useless tasks because their careers stalled or they made a mistake or they were blacklisted or screwed over.
Weren't good spies.
And the Slow Horses get very much embroiled in something and sort of play a key role in this. I thought it was really well written. It was dark at times, kind of fun at times. I don't know much about Mick Herron, but I liked sort of the patter of the way he wrote things and the way he created suspense. This was a fun book. Gary Oldman plays the lead character in the TV series, and I kept picturing him, even though I haven't seen the TV series, I sort of pictured him as the lead character. So I think there might be 9 of them. I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody has read many of these, but I'm going to go with Slow Horses by Mick Herron as one of my 3 best books I read in 2025.
Is that the name of the TV series too?
Yes, and the first book is called Slow Horses.
Huh. So what rating would you give this?
Oh, I don't know, 8.
8 out of 10.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
That was quite good. Dixon liked it as well in the Nasty Chat. Or he's making fun of me for liking it. I don't know. Oh, okay, next one. This is the book I read right before Slow Horses. I read both these in December. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian, which was really big a few years ago. There's a movie coming out in March starring Canadian Ryan Gosling. This book was an absolute joy.
Really?
It's very science fiction-y, obviously. So the lead character in the book is named Ryland Grace, who is a junior high science teacher who has to go on a deep space expedition to save the sun. And and once he gets there, he encounters an alien. He encounters a being from another planet trying to do the same thing because stars around the universe, around the galaxy, are dying out. So that's a minor spoiler, but the alien's introduced pretty early in the book. The science fiction stuff is fun. The explanations of some of the science stuff, he tried to make it as realistic as he could, I think. But really, it's a buddy story about two people from different planets trying to accomplish the same goal. And originally not being able to speak to each other. I won't get into all the details, but even they perceive each other in different ways because of the way we perceive light and sound, and the alien perceives light and sound. And the last chapter sort of was just, you almost tear up. I didn't, but you almost tear up.
Really?
Yeah. So I really enjoyed Project Hail Mary. This book was fun, kind of sentimental, tense. Like they're probably going to kind of succeed,
right?
Just into what degree or how they do it. But I really like this one. If you're asking me out of 10, I'd probably give this one a 9.
Really?
Yeah.
So out of all the people in the world, they chose a grade 7 science teacher.
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
That's part of the book.
Okay.
So the book takes place in 2 time frames. It starts with him already in space. But then there's another story told that flashes back to the original discovery of this problem for the sun, how he gets pulled into it, and then how he winds up being one of the astronauts selected.
Oh, look, Coop has a picture of it up.
Yeah, Coop put up a picture.
Okay.
Because I sent him the covers, or at least some of the covers. The game has not yet started, everybody.
People are quite angry.
If we had a goal, we'd tell you we had a goal. We're sorry.
We are.
All right, and then I read 13 books. This is the fun part of this because I feel this gets people talking about books. Like if somebody's want to say, hey, Reid, AJ, I read this year, it's cool. This is the great thing about books.
Yes.
I saw Trent Schneider, who is a camera guy with Oilers Plus. He also put up books. He put up all the books he read this year. And he was like around 13 or 15. I hadn't even heard of a single one of them.
Really?
That's the great thing about getting into books. So my other one I read, this was before my eye surgery. Never Let Me Go. I might butcher the name. Kazuo Ishiguro, who as I found since I read this, is a fairly well-known author. This book was a little more writerly. Does that make sense when I say that?
100%.
So, but I still really enjoyed, it wasn't like over my head, but it was a little more, okay, I think you'll understand what I mean. Like every book or movie has a story, but some are more about the story, some are more about the themes and the human journey. This would be in the latter category, but it's got a crazy science fiction angle to it. That's not like the center of the story, but it's important to it. And so it's sort of about these younger people who are growing up in this special place. Because there is a major spoiler to this that I don't want to give away in case somebody decides to go pick it up. But it's about these younger people growing up in a very unique circumstance in sort of a specialized institution and how they age and navigate their way through their very unique lives.
Okay.
But it was really good. Like it was kind of sad, kind of touching. And yet it also sort of has this shroud of mystery about it because, they sort of drip feed you what's actually happening. There were things where I'm like, wait a minute. Is it this? And I'm like, no, it's not this. Like, who are these kids?
That's interesting.
Yeah. So at one point I was like, are they even kids? Like, are they like, what are they? So there's that element to it as well. So I really liked this book. It was pretty smart, kind of sad, but I enjoyed it.
Have you read any of his other books then?
No,
or do you want to?
I think he did Remains of the Day, right? Did you just look him up? Which
The
was
Remains of the
Anthony
Day,
Hopkins movie,
Clara and the Sun, A Pale View of Hills.
Yeah, I have not read any of those.
Have you seen there's a movie version of Never Let
I
Me
have
Go?
not seen it. No, I didn't even know that till after I read that. I think it's kind of got mixed reviews.
Nobel Prize in Literature.
Yeah, this
won in 2017.
Yeah, very well-established writer. So Never Let Me Go. Kind of different than the other two I suggested. Though, like I said, there's a massive science fiction premise at the core of this book. Though it's less about the actual science fiction than Project Hail Mary would be, and less about the mystery than Slow Horses would be. But still, really good. Riding the Pine says, I'd like to read the Red Dwarf novels, but good luck getting them in Canada. Which ones are those? The Red Dwarf novels? The game's underway. Oilers, Jets. We do not have a score. We are minute 20 into the first period. Oilers get a shot off the wing that is stopped by Hellebuck. Andrew Mangiapane, a healthy scratch for this game. Rumors abound that he is seeking to be traded away from Edmonton. So we'll see if this leads to a development. All right, we're going to do a break, and then we're going to do words of the day. Coob, you go now.
Games are live in the NHL right now. Just getting underway. It's the Oilers and Jets. Scoreless early in the first, and Andrew Mangiapane is a healthy scratch for the Oilers. Max Jones taking his spot in the lineup. Earlier, Noah Philp was claimed off waivers from the Hurricanes after registering 3 points in 15 games with the Oilers this season. Around the league, the Capitals and Panthers are in first intermission, tied at 2 aside, while the Rangers and Hurricanes are notched at 1 apiece with 2 minutes left in the opening period. World Juniors action. Canada faces Denmark at 6:30. And right now, the United States and Slovakia are tied 4-4 entering the third period. Down south, Monday Night Football sees the Rams and Falcons kicking off at 6:15, and the Raptors, they're in action right now against the Magic. The handful of other games underway. 8 minutes left in the first. It's 12-2. The Raptors trailing by 10. We also see the Nuggets and Heat in action. Miami leading 13-12, while the Nets are up 16-8 over the Warriors. All of those games in the first. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring. For over 33 years, Paramount's family-owned business has a reputation for earning trust with fair pricing, dependable service, and quality workmanship. Call 780-483-1991 and mention EST for 10% off. Paramount Flooring. Flooring for the life you live. The Reid Wilkins Show rolls on after the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
Hockey is heating up, and so is the excitement on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code EST50. That's code EST50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense.
December's festive featured wing flavors are here at the Canadian Brewhouse. It's festive cranberry versus Korean bulgogi in the ultimate flavor showdown. Try them anytime or just 67 cents every Wing Wednesday for a limited time. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
New Year's Eve, join River Cree Resort and Casino for a spectacular show like no other. Get ready for Material Girls, an amazing tribute to Lady Gaga, Adele, Shania Twain, Madonna, Blondie, Pink, and Cher, capturing all the elegance and essence of these mega stars in one unforgettable concert experience. Material Girls, December 31st in the venue. Hurry, get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement, bet on it.
From the first time on skates to wearing a special jersey passed down through generations, Sentinel Storage is here for you. Store your sports gear and seasonal items to create space for all life's adventures. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca. Proud partner of Hockey Canada and the World Juniors.
All right, 4.5 minutes into the first period. No score between the Oilers and the Jets. Watching it on Amazon Prime, probably along with some of you. Gomer Jackson in the Nasty Chat says, this plug going to call the game? I am not. Interesting question.
That is.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to be in two places at one time.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll keep you updated.
Safe to say Winnipeg has controlled the play here.
Yeah, for sure.
To start.
Yeah. McDavid had a good rush, but the Jets fed the puck more. Absolutely. Shots, though, were 1-1. Oh, there's another one. Good save by Pickard. All right, let's wrap her up with our words of the day for Edmonton Public Library. Check out their Intellectual Freedom campaign. EPL stands up for your right to explore every topic, every belief, and every opinion without censorship. Learn more about how EPL protects your freedom to read at intellectualfreedom.ca.
The word of the day with Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they got to say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying.
Okay. First word of the day, apropos.
Apropos. A-P-R-O-P-O-S. Apropos. And I believe... How's the best... It doesn't... It's kind of like appropriate, but it's not the same as appropriate. Can I get it? Is that correct? You can deduct me for asking that question. It's like...
Yeah.
It's like oh man.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and give that to you.
So that actually is the definition.
As an adjective, apropos describes something that is suitable or appropriate.
Right.
As in an apropos nickname.
Right. Or like a handshake would be an apropos greeting.
Yes. You were right. You said appropriate. Second word of the day.
You're a little generous, but thank you.
Nefarious. Nefarious.
I like these words today. N-E-F-A-R-I-O-U-S. Nefarious. Well, this basically means sort of like having a bad reputation or being downright evil, perhaps.
Wow, 4 for 4.
Like being a nefarious gangster.
Nefarious is a formal word that describes something as evil or immoral.
There we go.
You're on your game, Reid.
I really am on my game. The Oilers are not.
No, they are not.
Well, the Jets are. Well, hey, Jets are probably feeling a little embarrassed, just like Calgary would have been a couple days ago. Oh, is that a penalty, though?
No.
Partial tackle on Draisaitl?
No, he just fell.
Oh, he just fell. Okay.
He just fell.
Yeah, Jets out shooting the Oilers 4-1, 8 minutes into the game. No score to tell you about. We'll be talking more about this one afterwards here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola will host the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show live from BP Clearview. And then, of course, back to our full day of programming at 6 a.m., the Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric. Will Fraser in for Eric tomorrow. I'll be making a guest appearance on that program. All right, on behalf of Zachary Kubish and the glue guy, Jay Milne, I'm Reid. Enjoy the Oilers and Jets. Talk to you later.